What's going on, everybody? Eric Lindquist at Stokastic here in the Odd Chopper channel, coming to you with another edition of Lindy's Leans. Likes and locks. Hit that like button, subscribe button, notification bell. Goes a long way for me on this video. Goes a long way for you. That way you become a prize whenever great content is going live here at our little neck of the YouTube woods. It's sad because I ended up on a lock prop on Corey Seager. I ended up getting minus 135, closed to minus 145 on 1.5 hits plus runs plus RBIs. There are 4 pitches that were thrown in that White Sox game, and then an unexpected storm pops up over the ballpark. I don't even know what to think. I'm hoping they resume play here so that Garrett Crochet gets out of there and we can get that bullpen and it's all righties there. It would set up so good for Corey Seager to just lock that full unit play up. But yeah, ended up on that in the premium Discord, which you can sign up for down below. Of course, if you use promo code Lindy50, boom, Lindy50, you have an opportunity to get yourself daily picks and premium Discord. That is me, access to me. I was in there talking. A lot of really great people in this community already. I'm so excited to bring it to you, and I can bring it to you 50% off with Lindy50 at the link below. Get all of my picks, all of my plays, and trust me, there's a lot of props that show up on a day-to-day basis. So if you're really looking for extra exposure beyond this video, check that out, of course. Alrighty, y'all. I don't really have a lot else to talk about here on the front end. Kansas City's up 2-1. They're in a rain delay, too. So that money line's still a sweat. I've got the run line of that Texas spot that we'll see how this ends up panning out. I didn't end up on the Yankees spot, even though it did fall into that minus 135 type territory. Hopefully, a lot of people were able to stay away from that because it looks like Patrick Corbin, Cy Corbin, oh, what a time to be alive. But we'll talk about Bet365 a little bit later as well. Leans, likes, locks, basically leans. There's the lean-like thing, too, where I talk you through the ins and outs of the process of what I'm thinking. If you want to know if I pull the trigger on anything, hit me up at Eric Lindquist over on X, especially with the NFL season. Week 1 NFL Lindy's coming your way very, very shortly. But yeah, we'll talk about the Bet365 later. Producer Jacob, though, he's doing a phenomenal job. Absolutely phenomenal job. Give him some love down at the comment section below. I just wanted to say that. Let's get to the picks. Alrighty, y'all, we begin our boarding walk with Kyle Hendricks and Paul Skeens, and it's funny because everybody has a Paul Skeens opinion. Everybody wants to know, how many pitches do you think he's going to throw? What are the innings? And again, they just said reduction in his workload last time out, and the exact wording now is that they might even limit it further, which is weird because now Jones comes back off the IL, and that's a pitcher I talked about yesterday. You want to put the bubble wrap on for sure. Well, you want to definitely put the bubble wrap on Paul Skeens even further, and that's where 7.5 is the opening strikeout number. There's no doubt that he can get there in a very, very short allotment of time, especially against a Chicago Cubs lineup that from time to time can strike out an absolute metric ton. But you have to work through this. It is so wild, so crazy to see Paul Skeens out there and throw 9 strikeouts and 6 innings of work in limited pitch counts. But I think it gets limited even further as we go along because they're not playing for anything. Still don't know if I can pull the trigger on this. I hope people bet this up and it can get to maybe some different territory here. But the under of 7.5 Ks is where I would be going, if anything, on this game. Can't touch the money line. Kyle Hendricks is terrible, but this is an efficient number of 5 innings of work for Skeens. I think we just have to sit these ones out, friends. Not sitting this out, Michael Waka taking on Tanner Bybee, and Tanner Bybee has been just fantastic, and yet kind of don't care. Maybe it's like if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Also kind of goes against my theory of like, oh, you shouldn't have favorites, because you shouldn't have favorites. Sometimes things are inefficient for a while, though, and you can keep betting it over and over and over and over and over and over and over like Marshawn Lynch, but only one of us on this show has hung out with him recently. It wasn't me. But anyway, Michael Waka, we are very much a fan of backing this Kansas City bullpen in its current iteration because they continue to outperform expectations. And, well, they've already won 70-something games, already exceeded their win total on the season. It's August 28th, so that's pretty wild. And we're getting plus 118. There's a plus 120 lingering out in the marketplace now. Pretty good spot here to invest on the Kansas City money line for a billionth straight time. It feels like, I know it's only been like 3 or 4. Houston at Philly. And once you know, we're not going to talk about Spencer Arrighetti. You can give up power, but get some swing and miss. And the Philly bats, we're waiting for it to warm up. But speaking of warming up, I always outsource my data. Just click a button and it basically pops all the weather into a sheet for me. 94 degrees at first pitch in Philadelphia tomorrow with crazy humidity and the wind blowing out. And I have to do the wind separate. It's a whole thing. But 10 miles per hour out to center to right. Can tell you one person who isn't excited about that. That's our friend Taijuan Walker, who, yeah, we didn't end up getting that that crazy Bobby Witt playthrough. Again, we've been doing pretty good in this regard. Tigers Angels is about to resume. That's not the game I care about. Really don't care about that one. Nobody cares about that one. We've got a couple of games we don't care about on this slate too, but let's talk through Taijuan Walker. 275 expected ISO to righties. That's absurd. 258 expected ISO to lefties. That's absurd. The fly ball contact is especially prevalent with righties, but there's not a ton of power in this Houston lineup aside from the top three, and we're going to be going to them. I think there's going to be something to mine out at opening numbers. Bear with me. I don't think I've done this in a while. More than one home run play in a game. Alex Bregman, Yordan Alvarez, and Yanner Diaz all together now, birds of a feather now, looking at all of their home run props. Alex Bregman, break even, plus 360. Yordan Alvarez, plus 215. Yanner Diaz, plus 410. Across the board, I want to be invested in them, but that's not all, folks. Over 9.5 is going to be a lean like purely because of this Philly side. And yes, Arrighetti has looked a lot better for Houston in terms of run prevention at times here. This is just such a scary weather spot. I think you want to be early and often to some of these numbers. I'm happy if you want to be firing up the 9.5 right now. I think I might actually be firing this up here in 2 seconds because I had this as a lean like, but want you to be invested in runs on this one because Taijuan Walker, we won't get to do it for much longer. Tampa Bay at Seattle, over 6.5. This is just like a straight out lean for me here, Castillo side. And then Tampa Bay, interesting. Brandon Lowe gets the day out of nowhere. Or Brandon Lau, there we go. Brandon Lau, out of the middle of nowhere, ends up sitting out the second baseman there. He's really all that matters for me there. Over 6.5. Hey, Willie Wagner, first home run there for Toronto Blue Jays. That was fun to watch. Nothing about this is going to be fun to bet. That's perfectly efficient. If this ends up being who I think it is, who did I think this was earlier in the day? Because it's changed a couple of times. Don't mind me. Just, doing my job on the fly here, even though I don't have a play from it, so it didn't really matter. Yeah, it's still undecided. There's absolutely no clue who it's going to be. They've been doing that crazy bullpen stuff, like Alexander, followed into yada. Awful. This isn't awful. 50% off. You like savings? I do too. Well, you get yourself an opportunity for $10 for a week. That'll lead you into just about the NFL. So if you're only interested in baseball for a week, hey, Eric, I really only want your baseball takes. Well, you have an opportunity to do that. And if you want my NFL takes, they're going to be coming out sooner rather than later. I got to say, we got some fun stuff in the works here at oddshopper.com and OddShopper YouTube channel. Going to be an awesome time to be alive. And hey, if you want to be a part of it in my marketplace Discord, well, 50% off using Lindy50. Yes, you go to the link below, click on it, sign up using Lindy50, $10 for your first week or $25 for your first month. I can prove it to you. I'm pretty good at the old betting thing. I've got pick'em cards for the people who want to be firing a pick'em. Anything betting related, I am here to help you make money and talk you through the process of how I do it. So sign up for that daily picks and premium Discord. Back to the picks we go. Griffin Canning versus question mark. Damn it, who talked the question mark on the teleprompter? I think it ends up being Kenta Maeda because like every 6th, 7th day now, he shows up out of the middle of nowhere. He's been getting like extra rest because they're starting to see glimpses from him at times, but Seattle's been struggling against a lot of people. 5 2/3, only one hit he allowed in that one, 5 strikeouts, his best outing of the year, bar none. But also got hit up for 6 runs in Chicago. Wind can be a factor there, so always hard to know. I'd have to go back and look there, but I hate this baseball game. I don't have numbers from it. Griffin Canning is taking on Kenta Maeda more than likely next game. Living the Vida Loca. Yeah, we got us Vito. Osvaldo Vito. There we go. Probably shouldn't sing Ricky Martin, but he's a nice guy, it seems like. There's really nowhere to go from this. TBA on the other side, because we had a weird thing where they just decided not to roll out Nick Lodolo today. Maybe they're starting to limit some innings on guys. Because again, this time of year, you should be seeing what you got. You should be testing out. You should be like on Bumble where you're swiping left, swiping right, trying out different stuff. We'll see what happens. I met my wife on Bumble, but that shouldn't surprise a lot of people. Anyway, we got Vito over here, and that is plus 120 to back a guy that I kind of like a lot of his underlying metrics so far this season. 26% hard hit, 264 xWOBA, 178 expected batting average. I mean, these are just ridiculous, redonkulous little numbers to be getting at plus 120 over an unknown. Now, if it ends up Lodolo, I'm probably in a little bit of trouble, but it seems like Cincinnati, they're just kind of playing it close to the vest, biding their time till the end of the season where they'll inevitably try to buy in on something. No, they really didn't buy in on anything. You got Ellie De La Cruz, he's fast. Oakland money line plus 120, I like it. Carlos Rodon, Mackenzie Gore, and I should also say on that last play, know your sportsbook that you're betting at. If it's going to be, if it's going to be live action no matter what, and you just don't want to inherit the risk, I'd be okay making that a lean like, but I have enough of those on the card already, so I played it. If you want to roll with me, half unit, good times. But Carlos Rodon, Mackenzie Gore, something about lefties right now, whether it's Mitchell Parker, well, he got hit up at the end of it, Patrick Corbin, what in the world? Mackenzie Gore, again, I had a weird feeling about that one. Obviously, the data bears out, attack Patrick Corbin all the time, but there were telltale signs in terms of his pitch allocation, in terms of just finding success here recently where I didn't want to pick on him there in that spot. And wouldn't you know it, seems like a pretty good idea here in hindsight. But now Washington utilized some decent bullpen arms, and Carlos Rodon, he's pretty good. Mackenzie Gore on the other side, ooh, it's tough. It's really tough for me to want to do anything here on the money line or run line. And this total, 9. It's going to probably get pushed up to 9.5. This is juiced pretty heavily here on the 9 at the moment, but I'm looking at Juan Soto here, left on left crime, because he's not as affected by it. And we've seen some numbers really dip for some of these lefties who have good numbers against lefties like I would expect them to. You know which lefties they don't face very often? Juan Soto. He's a lefty who's very good. And I want to see some of his numbers, but if we're getting a plus money number to take on his old former Washington Nationals here, coming off of this embarrassing, ridiculous little showdown with Patrick Corbin, Mackenzie Gore. I think we might be going with him left on left here. Juan Soto plus money with that 2+ bases. And then the home run, we're going to be paying close attention to this. Plus 310 or better. I think against a lefty, we're for sure going to get it. And a good lefty at that with Mackenzie Gore. But we're going to head to Chris Bassett and Brian Bayo. Neither of them are left-handed. They're right-handed, but you wouldn't really know it. And wouldn't you know it, I like runs in this one. Yet again, I feel like I've said that a lot here for these Fenway series of late, but it continues to come to fruition. Right out of the gate, Duran going yard. It's 6-2, bottom of the 6th. I feel like this is something I feel like I'm taking crazy pills. I just keep disagreeing with the totals. I keep disagreeing with them, and as such, I have to keep playing the totals. I really do. Now, I didn't play it today because God forbid, and of course, Toronto ends up getting stopped by whatever. Yariel Rodriguez, I've had enough respect for. I really have no respect for Brian Bayo. I think he's one of the AAA pitchers that I was the most wrong about because I thought some of his strikeout stuff and the ground ball stuff would help him at the big league level. Alas, he's had moments with the changeup and the slider. He throws the primary sinker to get that ground ball rate, 51.2% for what it's worth. But Chris Bassett on the other side, too. These are just attackable pitchers in a great game environment and a great ballpark with a lineup in the Boston side that's top 3 against right-handed pitching over any sample size you want to use. And Toronto, well, they have enough pulses to be able to get after Brian Bayo. So that's the nicest thing I can say about them. Joey Lopafito, Dalton Varsho. Why did I bet this freaking team yesterday? Whatever. All right, we're going to just go back to the total department because it seems a lot more fun. 9 or 9.5. There's a minus 115 on FanDuel. On the 9, there's a 9.5 even money. Kind of like them both. Think it'd be okay with either side of it. Numbers would prefer you took the 9.5 side for what it's worth. I'm okay with either. And we've got Chris Sale and David Festa up here next. And wouldn't you know it, Chris Sale is very good at pitching of the baseballs in the year of our Lord 2024. Didn't see that one coming. Probably the most surprising starter that I've seen in baseball in quite some time. I mean, this guy felt like he was on the path to dust, the path to ruin, the land of no return in Boston. And, well, he returned in a very real way here in Atlanta. And it's just ridiculous. 32.7% K rate, sub 5% barrel percentage, sub 30% hard hit ever so slightly. Really limited hard contact. And he gets to take on a Minnesota team that I know the numbers don't bear it out in like a pretty pronounced way. But if you, depending on the sample size you go to, against left-handed pitching, the Minnesota Twins over the course of the last month are Drum roll, 92 WRC plus. Yikes. Not exactly ideal, especially with a 193 ISO. Like, there's something, it's a small sample size that I'm using on that one, not to extrapolate, but really want you to focus on a day in, day out basis against Southpaws. We have to bury Castro in the lineup, even though we shouldn't at times. We put Manuel Margot up at the leadoff spot. Decent enough lately, but not my favorite hitter on planet Earth. We'll put it that way. You neutralize a lot of what makes Matt Wallner and Trevor Larnach great. Got to bury them to the bottom half of the lineup, whereas against right-handed pitching, routinely second, third, Matt Wallner cleaned up from time to time. And then Edward Julian, you have to put him enacted into duty. Max Kepler from the left side without Byron Buxton out there. It's just difficult looking at that outfield on a day-in, day-out basis. Austin Martin against left-handed pitching. Maybe it's just because I'm a Twins fan. It is what it is, but I like money more from time to time. Again, I would trade a lot of money in to see my Twins win a World Series where I wasn't 1 month old and 4 years old, 87 and 91. I was at both for what it's worth. Great parenting by my parents. It's probably why I'm loud and tone deaf. But anyway, this isn't tone deaf. We got Chris Sale at minus 142. This would be borderline lock territory. I'm just going to like it because David Festa does have that decent enough changeup. We're seeing it play out pretty decent at the big league level, getting some swing and miss from time to time, but getting peeled off the board. Oh boy, we got to take Atlanta here. San Diego on the run line. I really don't want to talk too much about this. Joe Musgrove has been probably one of the most frustrating pitchers if you're a Padres fan you could possibly ever imagine, which is hard to imagine when you think of like Randy Vasquez starting baseball games for you. The fact that Blake Snell doesn't play for your team anymore. And Joe Musgrove, nearly a 4.5 ERA, but came off of his best outing of the season against the Mets, bar none. 9 strikeouts, 1 hit. If that fastball is working, I could lean the Dodgers side. Sorry, Padres fan. The Padres side at plus 140 here on the run line, but it's not looking that great. Palante, great ground ball pitcher. That's the nicest thing I can really say about him. Been effective as a major league pitcher. Just to stay away of a game. And if you want to get in the game at Bet365, check out the Pennsylvania launch. If you're in Pennsylvania, of course, if you're in New Jersey, Arizona, some of these other great states where Bet365 is also active, take advantage at the link below. If it's available in your state, I guarantee you click on that link below and well, it'll allow you to because geolocation is a thing. But Pennsylvania, if you're there, this is an amazing offer. Bet 5, get 150 in bonus bets and 50 spins on the virtual slot machines with our friends at Bet365. Super easy. Again, 5 into 150 before NFL starts, before week 1 of college football. These are good things. Take advantage. Only for 21 and over. If you have a gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER. Back to the picks we go. Kyle Harrison, Freddie Peralta on the bump. Oh boy, fastball Freddie. And I think I've posted my ROI multiple times now to multiple people, and they keep making fun of me because I can't make money against Milwaukee or with Milwaukee or anything that has to do with anything. But let's go to the home run market because I don't think I've done this a lot with Milwaukee this season. Have I? I don't think so, which is weird because they definitely have some home run hitters. We just saw Jackson Chourio hit an absolute piss missile to... He is out of his mind right now. 285 expected batting average, 430 expected slugging. I don't see these homers. The launch angle, nothing really pops for me with him. Does Willy Adames from time to time. He's one of those weird guys, though, where it's like a sub-90 exit velocity, which doesn't matter to you. It matters to me. Actually, it should matter to all of us, if we're being honest. 472 expected slugging, really good. 40.2% hard hit, really good. Or not really good, it's like average. But 19.4 degree launch angle. He always stands out a little bit more to me. It's kind of the deal with William Contreras, where it's hard for me to pull the trigger with some of his loft numbers because you hit that ball hard, which is great, but it's got to get in the air. It has to be jumping off the bat in an upward motion, and that's where Gary Sanchez gets a leg up here on today's home run prowess. We're talking 46% hard hit, 453 expected slugging, and a guy with a 25.9% K rate who strikes out a little bit. Not a lot, baby girl, just a little bit. But Kyle Harrison, he can come to the crib in a little bit, under 22% K rate in a little bit, 10.2% barrel percentage a little bit. So we're going to be looking a little bit at Gary Sanchez to homer. Anything better than plus 285 is going to be on the card. G-Unit. Oh, we got Chris Flexen. I stay flexing in my candy paint, rolling dang, sip and drink on an 84 swang. Sorry, you didn't want to hear me rap. Next, part 2, the sequel. I don't want to talk about this game. Don't make me. We got Miami and Colorado for another Coors Field Fiesta, even though that was earlier and I didn't do that bit. But Max Meyer, Kyle Freeland up here next, and I'm going to be going to another like squarish money line play. I don't even know who I am. We've had a lot of plus money numbers on the card recently, and like Kansas City in a really advantageous spot, and pretty much everything that I've had on the card here, even the run lines. Again, both of those plus money on Tuesday. We'll see if Texas even plays baseball today, but whatever. We're on to Wednesday. This is a forward-looking show, and I didn't want to break down that last game. I'm still mad about the weather, but Max Meyer, Kyle Freeland. It's not that I want to back Kyle Freeland. It's just that I think this price should be closer to minus 140. And you can argue the semantics and, the Miami Marlins, they're out of Miami. But that's why we have WRC Plus, so we can use those metrics to weight runs created based on your ballpark. It helps. If you just go to weighted runs created, period, without the plus part, then sure, then it's going to look bad in every bad ballpark. This is a really good ballpark for hitting, and that's where I think this makes sense. Kyle Freeland pitches in this all the time. As for Max Meyer, he's a young guy who just has had no luck at the big league level here. If he had bad luck, he'd have no luck. No, if he had no luck, he wouldn't have bad luck. Whatever. Max Meyer, 49% hard hit, 346 xWOBA, 14.3% barrel percentage. He's been on the struggle bus. He's a top 3 pick from 2020, and it's just not bearing out in the data that he deserved that. Does have a ground ball percentage from time to time that pops up, 49% this season, but man, is that barrel percentage out of control. These lefties should have a heyday on the Colorado side, and Blackman, Tovar, they started leadoff today. Homer. So we're going to bet. Colorado, money line. Don't know why I'm doing that. It's not funny. Next game. The Mets in Arizona, Luis Severino, Eduardo Rodriguez, and I kind of like this isn't over. Now, I don't think the roof is going to be open, but we're getting close to that territory, September. I'm always on the lookout. I'm just throwing it out there. There will be a day where if you follow me on X at Eric Lindquist, or if you're in the premium Discord, where I just jam over in this ballpark out of the middle of nowhere. I'll text my parents and we'll figure out, hey, we should meet up at Chase Field and watch a million runs occur, because that's what happens when that roof opens and it's just free weather. Oh, it's so fun. But 8.5 here purely because we don't have a huge sample size on Eduardo Rodriguez this season. Still figuring some stuff out. The Mets figured some stuff out offensively themselves. As for Luis Severino, we're talking about Arizona. They're number 2 at WRC Plus since the All-Star break, and best record in baseball since then? Yeah, runs are going to continue. Corbin Carroll also is strong side, obviously. Platoon. Last game. And Corbin, Burns, and Walker Buehler. Weird not to have anything on this purely because I'm terrified, scared shitless of Walker Buehler and the stuff that he has been doing here lately. It's not good. Obviously, if you run Walker Buehler's numbers from 2022 and you put them into the old simulator, this number makes no sense at minus 118. It would be way up there. But have we watched Walker Buehler pitch this season? Unfortunately, I have. 6.09 ERA, 1.69 whip across the board, giving up so much hard hit, finding no swing and miss right now. And that's a major problem for Walker Buehler, who used to just be able to rely on that, just targeted velocity and a really good sinker, slider, curve. He's basically just like a pitcher's pitcher, but with a 17.3% whip percentage. I look at the Corbin Burns side. He's been decent enough here. Obviously, this Dodgers lineup, though, when they're going to face righties, you're going to see Ohtani batting first, Freeman batting third, Lux batting fifth, Muncy batting seventh. I mean, it's just a ridiculous amount of lefties. They're intertwined between Betts, Teoscar Hernandez, and Will Smith 2-4-6. I mean, it's just not even fair 1 through 7. I mean, it would be funny if they still had Jason Hayward, but he apparently is going to sign with Houston. Whatever. We don't care about betting this one. Over 8.5. Just going to be a lean. Unfortunately, going to be a spectator. And that does it for another edition of Lindy's Leans, Likes, and Locks. Head to that comment section below. Let me know your favorite plays that exist on this 15-gamer on Wednesday. Another massive slate. We got to take advantage of these here before college football starts over the weekend and before NFL starts next week on Thursday. Excited to bring you Lindy's content for that. Speaking of, promo code Lindy50, you have an opportunity to sign up over at that Odd Shopper Marketplace at the link below. I know you've seen this graphic a lot, but one more time for the people in the back, in case you would like to sign up and get my picks immediately from the app. Again, it goes directly off of a notification to your phone. When I place a bet, you will get the ting on your phone. Great opportunity to sign up using Lindy50. $10 for your first week, $25 for your first month. Would love to see you there. Alrighty, y'all. Thank you, producer Jacob. Thank you, Pet365. Until next time, friends, I'm Eric Lindquist. Best of luck in the MLB streets on Hump Day.